I'm calling this meeting to order on November 1st at 4:33.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do a roll call. When you hear your name, please say present. Chair Carter Ballou, Chair or Vice Chair Colin Ballou,
Present.
Commissioner Charles, Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Kelly,
Present.
Commissioner Kessler,
Present.
Commissioner Lashinsky,
Present.
Commissioner Sue,
Present.
and Commissioner Ryan.
Present.
Okay, let the record show 6 commissioners are present with 3 absent.
Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I can lead that.
So we have 1 oral communication. Joanna Gorman, you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Good afternoon. My name is Joanna Gorman. I'm the Outreach and Youth Services Librarian at the Encinitas branch. And the only thing I have to report is we do have service learners at the branch. We're still looking for more for our teen support at the library. We would appreciate it if you could spread the word for anybody who's interested. Thank you.
Next agenda item is changes to the agenda.
There are no changes to the posted agenda.
Moving on to agenda item number 7, approval of the October 4th, 2023 Youth Commission regular meeting minutes. I'll call a vote. Motion to approve. Commissioner Colin Blue motions to approve.
Commissioner Lashinsky seconds.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a vote. Vice Chair Colin Ballou,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Kessler,
Aye.
Commissioner Lashinsky,
Aye.
Commissioner Sue,
Aye.
and Commissioner Ryan.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved.
Moving on to agenda item 8A, Youth Commission's work plan preparation.
So I'm going to jump in. This is Supervisor Camarena. So last week we went to City Council and had the work plan approved with a condition from the City Council in which they would like us to add 1 item to your e-bike safety section. City Council asked that with their approval, they would like the Youth Commission and the Mobility and Traffic Commission to have a joint meeting to talk about safe pathways to school, and to be able to present a plan to City Council. So this is what they would like you guys to add. If you guys have any comments on that, this is your time to talk about it.
Commissioner Kessler. So since we already have like a group doing e-bikes, is it everyone or is it just us 3?
So the ad hoc is in charge of getting these items together and working specifically and talking to them. The Mobility and Traffic Commission but the expectation is that the whole group will come together in a joint meeting and speak with them together.
I agree. I think the whole group should meet together for this. But do we have like an estimate of when that would be, or not yet?
So this is Supervisor Camarena speaking. So that's up to you guys. When the ad hoc has time to communicate with the Mobility and Traffic Commission, you guys can set a date and decide on what date works between the two of you. And then at that meeting, what they're kind of hoping for is that each of you will go to your schools and kind of look around and look at the traffic and mobility around your school and decide what you think are good ideas for safer bike mobility and safer transportation, and I can't think of the word, but ways to get to school. Does that make sense?
Manager Hamer, I just wanted to also add, the anticipated meeting would be in 2024, so not a major rush, and that should give you the time to observe on your own and talk to your peers about the safe routes to school movement that the city is trying to embrace. And they strongly believe that since you are going to school each day, your input would be very valuable to that Traffic and Mobility Commission. Thank you.
This is Commissioner Kelly. I was just curious, did they have any particular schools that they were listing? Like, was there any, like, did they list as any possible suggestions for our input? Or what if we're out of region? What anything about that in particular?
Manager Hamer, their priority would be schools located in the boundaries of the city of Encinitas because they're the city council. I think all schools probably nationwide have the challenge of transportation because the traditional school bus system is not used anymore. But we would want this youth commission to focus on schools within the boundaries of the city of Encinitas.
Supervisor Camarena, do you guys have any other questions on that? Okay, then
think so.
something else that we wanted to bring in, because we are on e-bike safety in the work plan. We do have Nick Buck here to speak on e-bike safety with you guys.
Can you put that up?
Yes.
And we're going to try this. Nope. All right, good afternoon, youth commissioners. Thanks for having me here this afternoon. I'm sorry that that's not displaying how I want it to display, but you'll just get all the messy notes on the side. But my name's Nick Buck. I'm the city's mobility manager. Pleased to present to you today with some of what the city's working on in the area of mobility, also sometimes called active transportation, and what are some of our 23-24 major initiatives are. First, that's my daughter, Emmy. That picture was probably taken in like 2015 at Encinitas Community Park. Love seeing that, a kid having a lot of fun on a bike and being safe. I've been with the city for almost 25 years. That's crazy, huh? And I'm obsessed with bikes, been my whole life. So this is really, this job, mobility manager, is really a convergence of something that's of passion to me, and then also the work that I enjoy so much, serving the city of Encinitas. I'm going to walk you through the slides that we have here. Some of the things that we work on in the area of mobility. And also I want to make the point that you consider me like the non-engineering side of the whole mobility conversation. So the city has some very talented people who deal with planning and engineering, and I am not that. I'm the person that's more about programs and people, and helping things be safer out there so that people can better interact with the built environment around them. So kind of on the work plan for mobility are to enhance and promote active transportation. So that's keeping busy with creating different campaigns and approaches to educating the public. And that includes things like our education efforts. So on the photos on the slide, you'll see a picture of one of our classes that's held every month. That's an e-bike safety class. That's really a great level of education for someone to receive, to know how to be safe and what the rules and laws are out there. Also, I collaborate a lot with outside groups, so pictures of the sheriffs and various community groups. In the bottom right, that's the Encinitas Bike Walk group receiving a proclamation about Bike Month. So again, my work is focused on programs and community outreach. So those are some of the things that we do. Also, in mobility, we oversee events like the Ciclovia Encinitas event. Maybe you've attended that one. That's the event on Coast Highway 101 that happens every year. It's a great time to come out and really get to see your city differently. Also, we develop maps and apps. So we're pretty focused on building out some more web content, also creating things like routes to schools and just information resources that's of use to the public. Also, we manage the city's public bike share program. You've probably seen some of the e-bike racks around town. Those are those cool looking electric bikes that have Encinitas branding on them. Well, that's a public bike share program. That means that people can check out those bikes for a fee and get to explore Encinitas and consider that a method of transportation other than getting in the car. Also, provide planning input. So as our planners and engineers create, plans to do something like, fix an intersection or to rework a street or to build a bike path or lane, I'm involved with those plan checks and providing input to make sure that the wants and needs of people who like to bike and walk are reflected in those plans. Now I'll talk briefly about some of the 23-24 major initiatives. And just understand when we say 23-24, it's because the city budgets and kind of operates within a fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs from July to June, so it pretty well lines up with your school year for the most part and your term on the commission here. So from now until the end of June 24, some of the things that we're working on are a major bike safe, drive safe education and outreach campaign. So you might have seen some signs around the community. The city created and printed about 300 yard signs that we have out around school sites. Also those message boards that you see around town, just promoting a general message of driver safety and bike safety. Also, I mentioned the Ciclovia Encinitas event. This will be the 4th time that we've done that event live. This year, that event next year it'll occur in May, so May 2024. That event had been held in January, so we have a much better month to work with now, and we have a lot of opportunity to make that a really big hit with lining up with a lot of other Bike Month activities. Other things that I mentioned, like our maps and apps, something cool that we use is called Outer Spatial. It's a mobile app where we have all of our park, rec, and cultural arts departments, parks, beaches, trails, and amenities and points of interest all within an app. And we're looking to add a lot more routes, ways to get people to, get out and explore and consider, we'll create different routes for biking and hiking and just sightseeing and different tools that we can use to kind of like gamify or, building contests and activities. So looking forward to better utilizing that this year. Also, as I mentioned, we're adding a lot more resources and content to city web pages and also print materials. So this next year, look for a much more built out web page about city mobility and safety. And yeah, just more mobility and safety content. As I mentioned, we are working a lot on education with the schools. So something that's in the works to complete by the end of this calendar year are MOUs. And MOU is just a fancy way of saying it's like a document that defines a partnership. So we're working on a partnership with our schools to support bike education that they can coordinate and they can make sure is tailored to the needs of their students and to fit within the school year on those school sites. Also, we're working on more school site programs and initiatives. You heard a minute ago, safe routes to schools. So that's kind of a planning effort to make sure that as we make roadway improvements, that they make things as safe as we can for circulation around schools to incorporate, biking and walking and making sure that there's adequate facilities and infrastructure. So that's a major area of emphasis this year. Also, we're working on things like an age-appropriate bike ped self-guided online safety course. If we decide to go down that route, that could be something kind of neat where it'd be online curriculum or a course that people could, participate in, and that would be something that has built-in tools to make sure that they're participating and engaged, and it would have a testing component at the end of it. So that's the big stuff. And beyond that, some future goals. This is kind of a fast evolving area, looking at bike education and working on making our streets safer for more and more people biking and walking. So we're just, really supporting a lot of the work in planning and engineering with plenty of public engagement and events to just kind of like share information, get people engaged so that they understand what's going on around them. So as we have opportunities for Youth Commission to get involved, we'll certainly let you know. Some of the ones for sure are to get involved with, for example, volunteering at our Ciclovia event in May. Also, we're working on video projects. So we intend to roll out a lot of videos that are focused on bike and driver education. So I think that it would lend a lot of credibility and make it more engaging and fun to have youth and teens participate in those video projects. So all those things, if you have any interest in participating in, you can certainly let your chair know, and we can connect as appropriate. That's pretty much what I've got for you. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those at this time.
Can you tell me more about Outer Spatial, the app? I was really interested in that, and I was just curious, can you tell me more? Because I'd never heard of that, and can you tell me more about what that is?
Yeah, definitely. Outer Spatial is really pretty cool. For a long time, we were wrestling with how we could take all of the great things that we have and put them in, into an app or a format where people can find it more easily on their phones, something that's on them all the time. So Outer Spatial is pretty much the best tool that we found. It was a lot of work in building out the back end of that program so that it includes all of our, we've got like 40 miles of recreational trails. We've got 6 miles of coast and like 20-something parks, and then just all these other amenities. So those are now all represented within the app, and then the app has a lot of really cool tools that we can use on the back end to create things like challenges and outings and contests, and to push information about upcoming events and programs, all those sort of things. We can also host a lot of like pretty rich content, so video content and anything else. So basically anyone that decides to download and use the app, it's real time, and it's geolocated. So if you're across town and you open the app, it will find things around you and find things coming up. So it's a pretty clever tool for us to better use to promote activities and just to encourage people to get out and explore and play.
Commissioner Kessler, so how are you going to advertise this app?
Mm-hmm. So we launched this last year, and it's something that's been promoted pretty consistently in our department's seasonal brochure. So that's our recreation guide brochure that you might have seen at home. We at that time kind of gave it a pretty significant push when we launched it on social media and through other channels. But really at this point, it's still just kind of a just like a resource to find things. We haven't yet started really creating or pushing all these activities and contests and things that are more interactive, but once we do, it'll be a much bigger campaign. So that campaign will be across a lot of different platforms, including social media, in our print brochure, and then through different, mail lists, emails, and, encouraging other community groups to promote it as well through their channels. So yeah, you'll see a much bigger push for that when it comes online.
This is Vice Chair Colin Blue. What do the safety classes consist of, and how do you find out information about them?
Yeah, the safety classes, which the city has been offering for coming up on 3 years now, is what we consider kind of the gold standard of education for about e-bikes and bike safety. So it's a 3-hour class that's held on Saturdays. That's the format that we've offered it in. So a 3-hour class that includes an hour of in the classroom instruction, and then an hour of skills done like in a parking lot environment. and then then a road course for the final hour. So it's pretty well-rounded in that regard. So that's the class that we offer, and we've promoted that consistently through our brochures and online on our cycling pages. And then also we have a really strong partner in the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition, so they also promote that class. Those classes have been, really popular since we started doing them, and, as there's a lot more interest in that at this time, those classes generally fill, so that's kind of what we're chasing, is more capacity. So trying to get more classes on the calendar, be creative in our approach, offering more education opportunities. As I mentioned, like that online class could be a thing that we do. Also, adapting that curriculum material for, into like assemblies. So some of you might have participated in a school assembly where it's packaged a little bit differently. But back to that class, we think that's kind of the appropriate level of education that anyone should have for, operating a bike out in the public.
Also, one more thing, I'd say probably like the majority of the students at SDA, like the sophomore and freshman class, have e-bikes. What are your thoughts on permits that force people to like learn more about e-bike safety and procedures like that?
Yeah, I think that we all agree that education is really important. You get a bike and then you're out on the street. And for a lot of teens that haven't, they don't have a driver's license, they haven't received all of that information. It's pretty rigorous to get your driver's license. That's a lot to learn, and then a lot to test on to demonstrate that you have mastery of that. And there's none of that yet in place around bikes. So I think it's really important that we work toward getting there. When it comes to permits, it's a little bit tougher because that's just an additional thing that schools are tasked with managing. But they're trying to get a handle on, just managing the sheer number of bikes that are at schools and making sure that the kids that are operating those are being safe about it. So we offer the classes that we offer, and we issue a certificate of participation. It's really difficult for us to say that somebody has completed or is certified in anything. But, again, we're working toward curriculum that really is, engaging and interactive and, that people are participating in, and then working toward like a testing component to make sure that they've, learned enough and can demonstrate that. So yeah, I think that the permit thing, we're all trying to figure that out still. It's possible that could come down from the state level. Really, that's probably how it's trending and where it'll go. Those things take time. So, eventually it might be a thing where any, person under 16 operating a bike might need to have some level of education and a license or a permit to operate it. But, that would come down from the state. And so we'd be kind of waiting to see what happens with that.
I was curious about how you want to outreach to schools for the education, because that's going to be, if you could make that a class that kids took, that'd probably I'd make that outreach bigger. So is there any plans to put it into schools and make it a mandatory class?
Yeah. And the approach that we intend to take with MOUs with our school districts, really to support them to for them to bring in education and then the city to help support the cost of doing that. I think that's going to be the best approach, because the city, in offering programs, we just don't have the direct connect or reach to students that the schools themselves have, nor do we have the same access to school sites to be, efficient in getting things scheduled and to reaching all those students. So I think that the approach that we intend to take is the right one, with MOUs to be great partners in this. And so I think that's what it takes. And then for the schools to, they best understand their constraints and their opportunities. So for them to look for ways to build it into, whether that's into a school day, to really target what time of the year to do these things and what format of education, they intend to plug in. So, general terms, a school might look at really front loading the school year with educational classes, and then back that up and support it throughout the school year with different things that are more programmatic, like assemblies or bike rodeos, different like ways to engage students and to support that year round. So the city will always be there in that really support role for our school districts, but it's something that we're all working toward together.
Commissioner Kessler, do you guys have any like, I guess, laws that are gonna like slowly start getting passed to like, I guess, restrict e-bike safety? I mean, not restrict, but like restrict e-bikers.
There's nothing at a local level that's soon to change, I don't think. Earlier this calendar year, there was a local ordinance that better defined things like, bike classifications and also like passengers on bikes and helmet use. And so that just kind of clarified some of the laws so that allowed local law enforcement to better police those things. So they're trying to be as effective as they can in enforcing these rules and laws, and also understanding that while this information is new to many, we want to make sure that we have enough education in place that there could be refer someone to a class, issue a warning, refer to a class rather than a citation at first offense. So that's the only local ordinance. And then at the state level, we're waiting to see what might play out with some proposed legislation. Some things that have occurred. Earlier this year, a bill was passed that required the state to come up with some education program. So currently, the California Highway Patrol has an online course that's pretty good, definitely worth taking a look at. So that's something that's education offered at the state level. And there could be more education provided through the state at a later date. Also, there's proposed legislation that would better kind of regulate the use of e-bikes, considering that perhaps someone under age 12 could not ride an e-bike, and better define what is allowed for operators under the age of 16. So again, that's all proposed legislation at the state level. So, as those things evolve, I can certainly come back and report to the group of, what's happening and what might be coming up.
No further questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Supervisor Camarena. So at this point, we can look at the rest of the work plan. If there's no other things that you want to look at in the work plan as a larger group, then we can move on to the next agenda item, I believe. You want to display the work? I'll bring it up. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you guys to look at. You know what? I can't find it at the moment, so I'm going to leave it up on the screen this way.
Okay, this is Vice Chair Colin. I'm just going to go through each action item and see if anybody has any objections or wanting to change anything. So action item number 1, civic engagement series. Action item number 2, e-bike safety. We already kind of talked about that.
Really quick, I'm going to jump in for just a second. They're just stated goals, so you don't have to call them action items. They're just stated goals, which is great. And you can't actually change. So at this point, you can't change the stated goals. What you can do is just discuss the projected outcomes or the plans on that end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So does anybody want to change the projected outcomes of stated goal number 4, habitat stewardship? Stated goal number 5.
Manager Hamer, I'm just going to intercede real quick. It would be for updates. So like, for example, when you went through one, the update might be who's going to be the next speaker for the next meeting. You know, those are the kind of updates that we would like to have shared and announced, that we continue to update this work plan. So instead of the word change, think of the word update. And we want to keep this as alive. Each time we meet, we are working to achieve our goals and outcomes, if that makes more sense. Thanks.
Okay, does the ad hoc committee for youth voter registration have any updates? Hearing none, moving on to stated goal number 6, identifying guest speakers.
Oh yeah, I did have an update on this one. I communicated with Jody Wolf. He's a conservation specialist lead at the Botanical Gardens. And if you guys, fellow commissioners, do you want to take a look at this? This is a transcript for the conversation I had with him. He essentially explained what they have available. They have lightscapes coming up soon. And they were saying that they would love to have our participation in some activities and that we can come anytime. So, and he also communicated that they'd love to have a guest speaker come in. So, for next month, that will probably be a likely guest speaker.
I also reached out to the owner of Happy E-Bikes, Dan Sachs, to further kind of educate the commission on more e-bike safety. He couldn't actually make it to this meeting, but he's a possible speaker for next meeting, so I'm going to continue to communicate with him.
Manager Hamer, I just want to touch base. Since you're both looking at the next meeting, it would be good as the ad hoc group to collaborate, work together, and as soon as you receive the confirmation on the presenter, we need to make sure it's added to the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I had one more. So there's a new San Diego pro girls volleyball team. It's announced this week, and there'll be a local summer youth partnerships at the YMCA Eki. I'm to be like the team's youth correspondent and ambassador. So I have the connections that we could have speakers come from there, and my old coach is the general manager. So I could have him come in for one as a speaker for one of those months.
Okay, with no further updates, I'm going to move on to stated goal number 7, youth mental health resources. Does anybody have any updates, Corey?
Again, for this one, that pro VEB speaker, we could probably have a couple coming, and for that one, and also because we're saying mental health, we're also talking about physical health, so we could help out with physical health with maybe some partnerships with the San Diego Pro VB program. And that's just an idea.
Also, just a quick note, last meeting, didn't we change the name of that one?
Yes, you did. Let me bring that up.
Okay, cool.
We could go ahead and move forward, though, on the next item.
Yeah. We can just fix that later. Okay, stated goal number 8, STEM engagement. Does anybody have any updates on that?
Yes, Commissioner Olshansky, I'll just update on it. So we have a few events planned. We're working with the library for a few, but yeah, no major updates. We're just planning the events right now.
Okay, cool. Moving forward to stated goal number 9, environmental stewardship.
Again, we have that partnership with the San Diego Botanical Gardens. They have those lightscapes coming up on those November 17th. So I think that'd be good for commissioners to take a look at on their calendars to see if they can go to that. They were also saying that they were interested with any connections, so we'll be communicating with them for possibly a all commission meeting where they have some things they can give to us.
Cool. Moving on to action item number 9, informational items, department updates with Manager Hamer.
For department updates, I wanted to make sure everybody had it saved on their calendar for the holiday parade, December 2nd. The Youth Commission does participate as a commission. You are the Santa escorts, and we could get creative and inventive on how we want to display that, but it is an important assignment because Santa gets very popular and we need all of you to help have crowd control, so thank you for that. I also wanted to do a huge thank you for Commissioner Charles. She is not here today, but she was at our movie in the park, and she helped us with the movie in the park and the spooky house, and she did a great job of engaging all the families, and especially the children who participated, and I really want to give her that thank you and recognition, as well as announcing that we have an art night coming up on Saturday, November 18th. I did see that Commissioner Kelly has already signed up for helping out at that art night, and we do have some shifts that are still open from 7 to 8:30 p.m. That's on a Saturday, November 18th, so it's not a school night. So if you had any interest in helping, we will do an email blast. In fact, I would recommend, because you also mentioned November 17th, if we can get a group email, Supervisor Camarena can do a general email to all of you to make sure you're aware of what's going on and what you can participate in. Last but not least, our department did update their process for bringing on new contract instructors. So in recreation, we offer everything from actually cultural arts too, from art classes to basketball camps to the whole range of activities. And it used to be through an RFP, and now it's on a website. It's encinitasca.gov/instructor. So if you know anybody in town or one of your teachers maybe over the summer, something they might want to offer with us with recreation and cultural arts, we have opened the door and we welcome that activity. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Hamer. Moving on to agenda item number 10, commission member initiated agenda items. Hearing none, moving on to agenda item number 11, future agenda items added by commission members. Hearing none, moving to agenda item number 12, commissioner reports roundtable. Okay, I'll start. At SDA, we just recently had our homecoming dance this past Friday. And for cross-country season, we're moving into league finals and CIF. So, yeah.
I met with Joe DeWolf, as I said, at the San Diego Botanical Gardens. I took on the role of the ST Youth Correspondent Ambassador for the San Diego Pro Volleyball team. We won for water polo against Scripps Ranch for our first round of CIFs. And that's all I have to report. Commissioner Kelly.
Commissioner Kessler, well, I go to the same school as Colin, so we had homecoming, and then today was senior ditch day, so we did flag football. We're preparing for our tournament on Friday, so go Botanists.
Commissioner Lashensky, Pacific Ridge School, we don't have that much going on. Homecoming also just ended, and we're going to have a lot of school sports are actually going to CIFs and finals. And in robotics, we're just going to start our competitions November 11th. So, yeah.
Commissioner Ryan, nothing to report.
Commissioner Sue, for my robotics team, it's a similar schedule to David, so we're starting on the 11th as well.
Thank you. Agenda item number 13, adjournment. This meeting is adjourned at 5:12 on November 1st.
So guys, I have a Are you guys? Thank you, guys. So I have a couple for you guys to start with. So if you guys can grab some straight up. And so first, e-bike group, intergenerational, and identifying speakers. There's Carl, Brian, Kessler, Lucinski, Sue, and Baloo.
What class is it you guys are doing? Civics?
And then identifying
AP
speakers,
government.
Kelly and
What do you guys think about your representatives? What school are you from? Okay, so they're like your neighboring schools. I know that. Right.
I'm just kind of outreaching right now because I did a little bit. I definitely, I was just curious, like, if that SASB volleyball thing is going to do it.
Do you feel like it falls under health?
Because I think it does, because it's kind of like the
You're still working?
Yeah, I'm still with the.
You,
I'm looking
are you part of the health plan?
it seems like you guys do a lot more.
So, and then, well, it's you, Carter, and I'm gonna get some results and then put this down. So, the college are in the health? They give all. So, in a minute, so start with some that I just talked about, and then I should take a couple minutes and have girls back. And then you can switch into the next one. So we'll move on to the next stage. Yeah, and then the other two can go work on. You two, you guys are both identifying. Check with Mel. I would say probably soon. Okay. And then you two are talking about e-bikes, right? Okay. I'm gonna come right
You guys look much taller up close. Up there, you guys kind of look small. Oh, you're gonna stand.
the guy, right? The big, strong guy.
Oh,
I'll be here at 6:30.
The big buff guy. Who's the guy was talking about?
Benjamin and David.
Who's the big buff guy?
Are you
Who's
driving?
the guy who's talking? Meeting that we went to. Oh, your friend. The guy from what?
E-bike group.
Thank you.
So we'll see. Okay, so the two who are talking about e-bikes right now, so you guys. So Kevin and Melissa said hi.
Thank you.
We can move this. Okay, so city council had kind of said that they want us to, you guys to put together a joint meeting. So right now, please stick for your plan, under e-bikes, they have going to Cyclovia, or volunteering at Cyclovia.
Well, I got that one.
And then a joint meeting.
And then we also.
Awareness for promoting stuff at school. There is thoughts, what do you think?
I have no idea about doing stuff at school. We all go to the same school.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Just like going over, and we'll talk, like, before we make decisions. Somebody like in charge.
Yeah, you might even want to talk to Nick about talking about the app. Like even as simple as just talking about the app in the classroom, but kind of covers this.
Yeah, but I feel like the presentation, like, we can, I feel like we need to figure out the app. It's either for like the app or like.
You get that one because I'm doing the volleyball one. And then for another one.
Yeah, I would say definitely check in with Nick, and if you wanted to talk about a smaller presentation you guys can give to people, and have Nick kind of coach you guys on that individually from the ad hocs, that would be really great. Cool. What, do you guys think you can do this week? Do you do or you don't? Okay, cool. So you, I'm gonna write Kessler.
I don't know any of the guys. His girlfriend. He has a girlfriend again.
Or before, I'm gonna say before next Friday. Yeah.
A couple years now.
So I will email you.
I knew he had
don't need to have a.
No plan, just reach out to him so that he can kind of special contact.
Anybody else?
It sounded like, just said they had somebody that they talked to. There is the coalition itself too. Is Colin interested in that? So maybe even try checking with Colin too on the other person that he said that he had talked to. Can you check in with Ryan?
I don't know anyone. I have no.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna reach out to you guys before next Friday and see how that's going. All we gotta do is just send an email, make sure that's started. Chloe is in May, and I will give you guys the date for that when it comes up. I think Colin had already started emailing people about certain things, so I'm gonna kind of assign him to reach out to our mobility when I find out who their contact is. Cool, and then you guys will do school stuff. Awesome, yeah, we don't need meetings just yet. And then we just have to here, so we're set. Cool, chill for a bit while I go talk to others.
If he explains it, if we just tell him. Bro, if we email him, we're like, can you do like a 5-minute presentation?
Yeah, so,
Under, yeah, we'll literally just say, well, I'll link an email and be like, I need a presentation. for you."
probably the speaker, he's already came up before.
Yeah, he's getting it before. We did it.
Yeah, I think he said that he really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't talk about next week, but I can get him to come. I can talk to general manager, I can see if they want to have players come in, so we can get players to come in, I can kind of get anyone to come in. And then,
I was thinking about it, like, I don't know. Like, that's bad, like,
connection with the YMCA,
I could,
yes.
I could just like do nothing or like something. I would rather like if I look back at like a couple years, like 20 years later, I'd be like, see all that e-bike stuff? I was part of that. Look how well. Nike crashes.
I'll see you in January, February.
E-bike safety is so big though. I feel like it's the most important one out of all.
Actually, can I take a
Right now.
Can I take a photo of your notes? And then, do you know core performance? It's in Carlsbad, but I know the head of core performance.
Yeah.
It's KORE, and the guy in charge is very like, he wants kids to get like,
Bro,
fit,
there's people.
shape, and
Yeah, I heard that, but like, what school they go to?
he's fitness trainer, so I can see if he would like to come in, and there's also.
I did not recognize a single person. So I was like looking around, there's people who don't never seen.
And then
Can you talk to them about February?
February or March, February or March would be good. And then, I know people that dump our lifeguards, but Encinitas lifeguard seems ideal, and I need to see if that.
But I was like,
That would be, that would be later, because I need to like be able to make that connection. So I need to have more of a correspondence with them.
yeah, we probably, I got home at like 11:50.
Yeah.
I was gonna get somebody from, well, I reached out last year, and I reached out this month, but he couldn't come.
It's always like,
His name's,
well, that one,
I think it's Dan Sachs, it's something Sachs.
I was like,
But he's the owner of how many e-bikes.
no, I know, it's like so confined. And I feel like there's not like stuff you can, like I know like
Yeah,
like there's
and then Carter and I are
one,
trying
so
to
it's
get,
just like, everybody's like confined.
mental, yeah, a mental health oriented speaker named Luis Gonzaga.
Yeah.
He did flake on one of the meetings in class. Yeah. We're gonna try to get him
I
back.
was telling you
Get
it's crazy
Clark
low.
or something.
And I was like,
But, yeah. Yeah.
okay, starting lineup. Soccer starting lineup is gonna be me 1, James 2, 3. They want to switch out like Will, Davey, Luke. Okay, for center. Okay. And then 4 is gonna probably, I think 4 is gonna be you.
For mental health,
And then 5 is gonna be Colin. No, does it? No, is it? What? Yeah, it does. It's like kind of like far. I don't know. I forgot what he's gonna do. But and then 6 is gonna probably it's definitely just so salty. Evan's yeah, for the first one. Okay, first like part that I missed. But it's so annoying. But like not first half. It's gonna be like first probably like, I don't know 5 minutes. But it's so stressful because I know everybody's gonna be like wanting to play and like they can't. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because I'll do similar. Evan sucks at everything. Evan sucks at everything. So I can see if I can. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, wait, you're right. He's like Boris. He's like Boris. No, but he's defense. Like he cannot play defense. I said so our defense is gonna be a 3-2-2, but like technically it's gonna be like a 2-2, but like one's gonna be okay. So the middle one's gonna sometimes rush, sometimes not. So it's gonna usually be like Evans. I mean, I'm trying to find when that happens. These two are gonna scoot up, and these two right in the front are gonna go wide, and the 2 safeties are gonna be calling. They're probably gonna be like one of these 2 people in the middle. No, it's good. We decided that. Yeah, no. Just switch them, man. If it doesn't not work, that's easy to explain. Zone is like. What are you doing? Where? I know.
Okay, give me 2 more seconds, stay. Remember to stay in less than 3 people.
She probably I mean, you gotta rerun this door.
How are we doing with intergenerational?
We're doing pretty good. So we actually have the event planned out, day and everything.
Oh, cool. So which one is that?
What?
That's the playful connection.
What is that?
Actually,
Why?
we have 2. So right now we have the Tech Tutors. We're trying to find a date for that one.
Right, and I saw the email go through before. So let's talk about playful first.
Playful, that's Saturday, December 9th from 9 to 12.
Wait,
From
she actually.
9 to 12?
And then right now we're just taking all the
Just that date.
for like the newsletter, the flyer,
Okay.
and just changing the date.
I was
changing the
holding
time,
back
updating it
tears.
this year.
Okay.
I don't
And
know.
then
She
after
just
that,
said
we're
this.
just gonna advertise for it.
That photo was hard though. But look at he's literally crying. Why is he crying?
Volunteers.
Why?
Okay. And
Why is
so
he
you guys
crying?
have newsletters and such that you've sent out before?
From last year, because we're just gonna use those again.
Okay, awesome. And then, so if I check in by next Friday.
Bro.
I guess the progress
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm like doing shit. I feel like it's so much
next
fun.
Friday,
We
I'll
do
check in, and
random
if
shit.
you're ready to send it, then
Shit.
from
Doing random shit is so much fun. Like not do it because I'm just like.
So my job
Down.
is to keep them. I'll just be doing checks. So Playful Connections is set, ready to go. Cool. And then tech, we're waiting on a day.
Yeah, and it also it's in the same similar boat as we did last year. So we have all the advertising stuff
And he said that they have to figure that out to work on the city, so.
They sent an email saying that their previous contact, was
So
gone.
we,
So I
with
will,
us, we can volunteer because we don't have to worry about laws. Whereas they do for, yes, the other members of the council, they need, they need a waiver for other kids. So they have to try to figure out how they're gonna do that. Well, yeah, then also other kids coming out, they were really curious.